to the book, The Sutras of the Ancient Teaching. I had a couple questions about it.
Is it this book?
Yes. First of all, I read it in the introduction that the purpose of every person's life is to change their consciousness, to return to God. In terms of changing one's consciousness, as far as I understand, it can be a long and complicated process. How can you explain to a person what can he or she manage to do during just one lifetime? How many lives does one need to change their consciousness properly?
The masters say that it is possible to achieve during one life. That is why they give the teaching. I don't know if this book contains this statement. Let's see. The rapid path, or the path of initiations. The rapid path. So it is enough for a person to wish, and he or she can stop incarnating on earth in a single lifetime. However, do you accept the law of reincarnation?
Yes, I do.
You do, but there are people who do not accept it. For example, the Orthodox Church considers it heresy. That is why we have incarnated many, many times on earth, and each time we made some mistakes. I have made very many mistakes in this life. But since I made these mistakes, it is I who has to correct them, right? If I, for example, insulted somebody, then I will be insulted too, right? Most likely, I will be insulted. But I should not be offended. I should forgive, right?
It is if you know that there is such a law, and you realize that you have made such mistakes. But what if you live and do not understand anything?
If you live and do not understand anything at all, then perhaps the path of initiations is not yet for you. The path of initiations is for those who consciously understand that there is the law of karma, the law of reincarnation, there is God, and the law of the universe. And then such person may wish to go through this path quickly. But not everyone can. Why? Because since we have incarnated many, many times, we have made many, many mistakes. If all our mistakes come back at once, our mistakes have to return to us, and we have to work them off. So if we offended someone, someone has to offend us too. But if we offended many, many, many people, we may simply not be able to bear it. What is our karma? It is our karma that keeps us here, right? Karma is the misuse of our divine energy. That is why we should now use all the energy which we use incorrectly in a proper way to correct all the mistakes.
Is it divided into several lives, if it is not possible to do in one life?
If we haven't made very many mistakes, or if we were some kind of a saint in the past, then one life is enough.
But this is very rare.
The rest of the people should at least understand that there is God, and simply try to commit fewer sins, do more good, and do less harm.
Okay, here is a very important question. How can you prove to a person who does not believe in reincarnation, doesn't believe that the invisible world exists, or in the existence of the laws of the cosmos, how can you prove to that person that reincarnation exists? If a person asks, you might say you don't see God, but you believe in Him. That means you can believe in such a thing as reincarnation.
But why do people not believe in God?
But there are people who believe in God, but do not believe in reincarnation. That's the point.
It is impossible to prove anything to anyone. A person must by himself, within himself,
He must come to accept this point.
he must come to this level of consciousness. There are a lot of stages of knowledge. One may not perceive something at one level, but they will be able to do it when they raise their consciousness a bit. It is like climbing a mountain. Have you ever hiked in the mountains?
Oh yes.
You look and see a high mountain, and there is nothing else. And as you get closer to the top, you see that there are more mountains behind this mountain.
Yes, sure, and they are even higher. It seems that you have arrived, but it turns out that there is still a long way to go.
Here it is the same. First you come to the idea that there is God, then to the idea of reincarnation.
Why do beings of light reproach human beings for repeating their mistakes from life to life, if they do not remember their mistakes?
Where do they reproach? Is it in the dictations?
Well, it turns out this way. We should grow, realize our mistakes, and then we should correct them. Okay, in this life I am already analyzing, and I know where I made mistakes, but I do not know what I committed in my past life.
This is the other side of whether a person believes in reincarnation or not. Because if a person believes in reincarnation, then they're able to guess why they have been hit so many times in this life. As you say, it hits over and over. The law is such that if we do something wrong, we are to account for it. The ignorance of the law does not excuse responsibility. That is why, if in this life everything is so bad, then probably there is some reason for it. If we do not see this reason in our current life, that means
it must be somewhere in the past.
Yes. But without understanding the law of reincarnation, it is simply impossible to explain to people why they feel bad.
Here is a question. Does this person need to learn about his or her mistakes? There are many therapies and methods to do it. For example, sometimes we can go back to our past lives to learn what happened.
It is very dangerous to use such services of people who help you fall into a trance in order to learn about your past. It may end disastrously. I know a man who paid a lot of money to learn about his past lives, and he became mentally ill. That is, if God does not want us to know something, but we still insist on knowing, it's the lack of humbleness. We should simply come to understand with humility that if our life is as it is, if everything is so bad around us, and we're getting hit all the time, then if we believe, so to say, in the feasibility of this divine law, if we believe in God, then we must simply accept everything with humility. Because God does not want to punish us. He provides us with the easiest way to work off our karma, the easiest way. We should simply believe in it. If we believe in God, then we should humbly accept whatever life sends us. Because our life around us is determined by our level of consciousness.